April here. Welcome back to my channel. I am so glad that you could join today. Today I'm going to be showing you my smash. Now this is something that I worked on for several years. Proud to have completed it, not because it's beautiful and amazing, but because it means a lot to me, because this was one of the ways that I really learned how to conquer some of my perfectionism tendencies and just learn to let go. The idea behind the smash book is that you are just going to smash in, write in, stick in, anything goes. You don't have to make it pretty, you don't have to make it perfect. It's just a great way to preserve mementos, to preserve ideas, and to do it in a creative way without any rules, without any guidelines. With my smash book here, and I decided to do a travel theme, and this smash book is travels that I've done prior to starting it, as well as during the years that I was working on this. I did do a lot of traveling, so there was a lot of stuff to do in here. You're going to see a lot of mess. You're going to see things just slapped in, glued in, lots of stickers, just a haphazard mess. But this means so much to me because it was really freeing just to be able to create and not to have those rules. And I actually do love this so much. So let's get started. So as you can see here on my first page, I have just used some scrapbook paper and some stickers and made a travel theme and written my little note there in the top. So the next page that it takes us to, okay, because I didn't want to use my real photos for this, so I printed them in my printer, and as you can see, I kind of came out a little bit pink because the quality of ink and the paper that I used wasn't great, but it's okay because it's not really about having the perfect picture. It's just about preserving the memories and creating. So I threw kind of this page together. This is some of my first trips that I took. This one was to San Antonio, Texas, and this was my first cruise over here to Cozumel out of Galveston. And you can see on the next page I used some of the smash little notes that go along with it to make a list of some of the places that I've traveled, documented, and some photos from that first cruise that were meaningful to me. Did some really bad lettering, and I also like to collect these pressed coins. My kids really like to collect them, actually, and so I have glued some of those in here as just a way of keeping up with them. So this is actually going to be on the next page, is a trip where I went to Freeport, Louisiana, and then over here, this was a trip to Branson, Missouri, where we stayed at the Big Cedar Lodge, and I've just used like some of the kids menu and stuff. And then this is a little invitation card that I glued on and kind of made a little flap that lifts up with more information about the trip. So that was really fun. Next up, this was my Vegas trip, the very first time that I flew. This was with my late husband, and it was one of our celebration trips. This was I had a notepad that looked like iPhones, and I really like that, so I used that in here, and some stubs. Some of this was like the fabulous here. This was pre-printed. That is one thing that's neat about the smash books, is they come with pattern backgrounds. Now the good thing about that is you kind of have something to work with. On the other side of it, it kind of locks you into a color scheme unless you want to go ahead and cover the whole page, which is something that I've done. Okay, so now we are back to more. This is another thing that I love to do on our trips, is if we're at the beach, I collect a little sand, place it in a little baggie, and then make note. As you can see, this was in one of the Florida Keys, and that's a picture of my sister who was with me on that trip, and then some road trip memories on this side. Let me open this up. Oh, yes. See, okay, you can kind of see here that I must have really hated what was under there because I covered it up with scrapbook paper and more notes. This was a trip to Great Wolf Lodge in Grapevine, Texas, where we have been a couple of times, and my kids really enjoy that. It's an indoor water park, and so as you can see, I just cut out some of the brochures and that sort of thing to help preserve the memories. And again, another really bad printing job where we all came out green. So normally that is something that would have driven me crazy. I would have trashed it. But again, the idea of this scrapbook, this smash book, is just to have fun creating and not be so focused on making things perfect. So I went ahead and used it, and I kind of like it. We have another page here, lots of handwritten mess on here. Kind of glued things in haphazardly. This was a trip to medieval times in Dallas. And the hotel room that we stayed in, I used one of the actual photos. You can tell by the quality there. I have a lot of travel stickers and map backgrounds that I've used throughout this. Some of the background is existing. Like you can see this here. This was pre-printed, and then I've just written over it. And this was a trip to SeaWorld and Legoland in Dallas, and I've got the little stubs there. And then we also visited the, I believe that was Dallas Zoo. We'll just cut little things out of the brochures and out of the maps to use instead of buying like the detailed sticker packs. That's a really inexpensive way to document your travels. You know, you just collect your little brochures and tourist guides and park maps, and you use those to incorporate into your scrapbook. This was a trip to the Scarborough Festival, and I always say it wrong, Waxahachie, Texas. This was actually our first trip there, and I cut out the map and kind of did some little drawings and put our pictures on top of that. More of the brochures here. This was one of the entertainers, the fire juggler, and it's kind of cool. I made a little note here about how he actually, in between performances, he came over, and of course they stay in character, kind of introduced himself, invited us to his show, and that was really neat. So we did go watch the show that year, and he's been back there several times. Okay, so this is fun. This was a little pocket calendar here, and I was planning a vacation, so I put my vacation plans on here, and I normally have some maps and brochures that I store in here. I'm not sure where they're at. This was a trip to New Orleans and a cruise out of New Orleans. So again, some scrapbook stickers that I bought geared to New Orleans, as well as some brochures and just little sticky notes, cards, scrapbook paper, you name it, I stuck it in there. Carnival cruise. Now I did have a whim on my cruise. One of the cruises that I went on, I bought the scrapbooking kit, and then I never used it. So I thought, hey, you know, I've got a lot of cruise stuff going on in here, so I actually pulled it out and I used some of that specific scrapbooking stuff here. It's one of the little notepads that they leave in your stateroom, so I wrote some notes on that. Brochure from our shore excursions. This is the little thing that they actually leave in your room that tells you what's going on. This is a picture of one of the little towel animals that they make. So this was a really fun Carnival cruise, and I've got a lot of the memories kind of preserved and written in there. And another page there, as you can see, more Carnival stuff. This was the very last trip that I took with my husband before he passed away. As you can see, my daughter Amber was really little. She was just a little over a year old at this time. We went to the Tyler Rose Gardens, and that was a really beautiful, beautiful short little trip that we had, and I'm glad that I have those memories of it preserved. So this was another Carnival cruise. I actually put the little ship cards that you use here, some more of the scrapbook stickers. This, my daughter had her photo taken. We were there on Mother's Day, so I got a neat little, this is a picture of the actual little Mother's Day cake that they served us. Notes about the excursions, that sort of thing. This is a menu from their Punchliners Comedy Club, and I actually did drink that, and I think I drank that. And so it's fun to watch those shows, and I just kind of preserve some of those memories and the funny things that happened there. While we weren't looking, my little girl, you know, like I said, she wasn't very old. She filled up all of our glasses with ripped up napkins, and so when we went to go take a drink, like, it was full of napkins, so that was unexpected. So this is one of the ships that I was on, and some of the photos from that. More cutouts from the Carnival. More Carnival here. This is our little pre-printed itinerary. This is, I took a picture of the map in Cozumel and then cut it out, posted it here. My kids picking the nose of some of the statues there. Another cruise, I believe this is going to be possibly one that my mom and I took. Beauty Gardens. My free drink coupon that I didn't use on this cruise. I didn't do much drinking, and then I forgot to use it, so that was kind of sad. And one of the umbrellas from one of the drinks that I did have. This was from a magazine. I just really liked this, so I cut it out and incorporated it in there. Some washi tape. These are some receipts from things that I purchased on board the ship. More of your cruise stuff where I've highlighted what we did or what we want to do and didn't do, that sort of thing. And Knob, which is one of my favorite places to visit in Cozumel. They have a sea lion show, and so I have a picture of that. And then, okay, so here we're going back to some older stuff and just kind of some random stuff. You know, there was a time when having stuff out of order like this would really drive me insane, but in this case, I'm okay with it. So this was a postcard from Vegas. This was my very first trip to medieval times. Like, this was way back when they let you pose with the royalty that was dressed up and you had the actual cape and the crown and get your picture taken. Now I think they just do a family photo of your family if you want that. Okay, so this was our Disney cruise, which was my most favorite cruise of all. I absolutely love this. It was a 4-day out of Galveston. We went to Cozumel again. We had a blast. This is the little thing from Disney that they sent us, and there are little ship cards, movies that we're playing on board, picture of the ship that I have a postcard of. These are some of the a little directory card. We participated in the Fish Exchanger, which is a little fun gift exchange that you can do with fellow cruisers. It's not a Disney event, but it is something that the cruisers organize themselves, where you get little gifts and give little gifts every day. And so this is one of the little things that we got. Here we have this is another one. We got this laminated bookmark with the Disney Cruise ribbon on it here, and I put that in there. We've got some postcards, some stickers here, more about this vacation. This was definitely just me recording memories. The Mickey bars were a big hit, so they actually ran out of them on the ship, so the servers were making my kids special ice creams to make up for that, so that was really cool. It was my son's birthday, and so they brought him out a special cake, you know, made a big deal out of that, so that was awesome. And here again, I've cut out, was a pirate night, which was actually a bit of a letdown, actually, because we got all dressed up. We were so prepared for it. This is a little brochure that I cut out. And then, so basically what happened was we were in really rough seas. Like, it was so bad that later that night, you know, they had to close off all of the deck. So the party was supposed to take place outside and wasn't able to do that. It was moved inside. You couldn't see. So that was a real letdown. But it was still fun, you know, even being disappointed and having things not go your way on vacation, that's still fun. So here we have more. This was about the little kids club that my daughter was in, and some memories of that. This is one of the menus for the cooking class that I attended. How to fold napkins instructions from a class I attended on there. More Disney cruise goodness here, like it just goes on and on. More tickets, that sort of thing. There's some actual pictures from the slightly disappointing pirate night. This is in Galveston, one of my favorite places to eat, right off the beach, called The Spot. And some photos from the cruise as we were taking off. And the famous little carnival tail. And then this is just, I have written in lots of different places that I visited at that time. I've added more to it since then. In the back is a pocket of some brochures and some other things that Heidi couldn't find room for or decided not to smash in. So there you have it. That is my travel smash book. I hope you enjoyed this little walkthrough, and I hope that it's an inspiration to you. You don't have to have a journal like this. You can use any journal. You can use any topic. And the idea is just to preserve memories. Stick your ticket stubs in there, stick photos in there. You know, you don't have to be fancy. It doesn't have to be gorgeous or beautiful. You just want to enjoy preserving those memories and just give yourself freedom to create. That's it. Bye.